Good morning. Good morning. Oh, wait, can you hear me? Guess it would help, huh? So, this is Bella. Since I got home from uh, Applique Getaway this last week, Monday, late Monday, uh, Bella pretty much doesn't want to leave my side. Yeah, it was a traumatic thing for her that I wasn't here, but I'm back now, right? Yeah. So, hey, how was your week? Do you have a good week? I spent the week playing catch up. Um, I try to take my work with me, meaning that I bring my computer. Good morning, Letty. Good morning. Good morning, Letty. And look, Bella, somebody said hello to you. Yes, I think she's just kind of resting right now. Um, but there's always a travel drama, I swear. Um, this year, because I wanted to take extra luggage space, because at Applique Getaway, there's a lot of shopping available. There's a lot of vendors. Wanted to make sure I had some stuff to take back with me. Um, I packed my computer. Oh, Gusta, Bella, Gusta from Sweden says hello. Yeah, yeah. He's got puppies too. Um, so I packed everything in the suitcases. Why use a carry-on when you're gonna check your bags anyways? Well, it turns out that my bags were delayed. I didn't get my um I didn't get my luggage until like 1 o'clock in the morning, Friday morning. So there was no working on Thursday. And of course, then the event starts and you're just totally into it. Good morning, Cindy. Tell the girls hello. Cindy was at the Applique Getaway also, and so was Letty. Um, Barb, good morning, Barb. Good morning, Barb. Someday we might have to get Gosta and family to come over across the ocean and come to one of our small events. That would be that would be a big trip. And if he ever does do something like that, maybe do something other than just come to the event. There's a lot to see in the States. So, anyways, I wanted to talk about the events. So here's what I want to suggest. First of all, we want to identify the types of events there are. In my mind, there are two categories. Good morning. Look who's here. Christine. Christine, she is the media director. Did I get that right? Media director for Applique Getaway. Some of the things that she does is she pulls in and finds the vendors. She looks for uh, the instructors for different classes. Um, Christine, you haven't met her yet, but this is Bella. She hasn't left me since I got back. Um, but Christine also does the internet marketing for the event. It was, wasn't it? Christina's saying that Applique Getaway was so much fun, that it was a great experience. It was a great to see everybody there. And it was. And Barb, I do that too. I'll gather a stack of boxes and then sit and break them all down at the same time. So going back to events, in my mind's eye, there are two types of events. There's the industrial commercial event where you see the big vendors, machines for sale, salespersons. There's even financing there. You can buy um, a piece of equipment. Yes, there are classes, uh, and yes, for the majority of the classes, they're entry level classes to introduce you to whatever uh, product line you want to develop, whether it be embroidery or sublimation or screen printing. Screen printing is more the bigger pieces, but those are the um, big commercial events. Uh, Impressions Expo is one of those. Um, DAX kind of rides the line between the commercial and the home user. Um, what other big events are there? There's the sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Um, I know, in fact, they're having one now. Oh, here, going back a second, Christine says she's the director of marketing and outreach, media director, goddess of charges, goddess in charge of the universe. I'll accept any of those titles. And you have earned every one of them, Christine. Every one of them. Um, Embroidery market, yeah, that's going to be in the other classification. But the big commercial events are where you want to uh, dive in and look and find Graphics Pro Expo. Christine, thank you. That is exactly the one I um I I was looking for. And you too, Letty. Thank you. You two are probably typing at the same time. Printed United Expo. Good morning, Jesse. Good to see you. Jesse, we're in the process of identifying the two different types of events that are out there. Right now, it's just identifying the more commercial events. If you're just getting into this industry of garment decoration, and you're not quite sure what you want to do, the big commercial events are going to help you with that. Now, the smaller, when I say smaller, it doesn't necessarily mean small. It just means that it's marketed to a different group, to a smaller niche group. The big commercial events want to bring everybody in. The smaller niche events focus more on us, um, the home user, the craft user, the craft at home user who's reaching, who's experimenting and thinking about crossing over into building this as a business, whether it be a hobby business or full out um, take over the whole basement, fill it up with equipment and supplies and inventory and work. Um, those are the events that I want to talk about. And the two that come to mind are Everything Embroidery Market, which is usually held somewhere around uh, Louisiana, Mississippi. Next year's events in Biloxi. This last one was in Lafayette, Louisiana. And then the Applique Getaway, which is the event that I just came home from, which is held uh, this year. It was in July. Next year it's going to be the end of June um, in Irving, Texas. So that's what I want to talk about. These smaller events, really cool thing about these smaller events is they have vendors that come in that you can buy supplies while you're there. And everybody's excited about the show discounts. For example, I purchased a baker's dozen of threads in assorted colors. Um, Oh gosh, now I want to do the math. Hold on a second. Just a second. For about $3 a spool. Good quality embroidery thread. I saved almost $1 a spool buying them at on the vendor floor. Now, the thing that we want to do when we're going to these events is we want to support our vendors, especially if we want them to come back the next year. And we do, because people like me bring an extra suitcase to the event to fill up with stuff that I've bought to take home. Um, you can buy your stabilizers, you can buy your embroidery thread, and it's called Applique Getaway, but it's not just applique. There was sublimation, there was vinyl, purse making supplies. Cindy came across a vendor that had buckets and buckets and buckets of zippers and decorative zipper pulls. She was so excited about that. Plus, they also sell vinyl for making handbags. Um, Cindy says not to mention saving on freight. Yes, if you bring it, if you buy it there, you don't have to pay the shipping. There's no minimum shipping. You can just take it with you. And Letty, she got some really fun spools of thread. Very much so. Christine, yes, it is so vital. She's talking about supporting our vendors. There's a lot of cost to being a vendor, and the sales they make at the show support them coming to continue coming. And that's right. It does cost a lot. When you think about it, you go to a hotel, you might spend uh, let's just say we're just going to keep a round number, $200 for a night just to sleep in the hotel. And you're going to be there from probably Wednesday for setup through end of Sunday, possibly Monday. So that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's $1,000 just to sleep. Now, you're also going to occupy space in one of their conference rooms. If it's $1,000 just to sleep, how much do you think it's going to be just to set up your tables and spend time there? Yeah. So we're talking, easy 2,000, $2,500 just to be a vendor at one of these events. And they have to make that money back plus plus their travel expenses, plus as an incentive to come back the next year. And that's very important. So, anytime you go to an event like this that has vendors, support your vendors. Even if it's just something small, um, like a little brush. I wish I had pulled it out. Honestly, people, I haven't even unpacked yet. I went straight to work. I've been working all week. So, anyways, the only thing I did pull out was my bag of Baker's Dozen threads, because I had to use a couple of them. But support your vendors at these events. Now, the other thing about these events is they have classes that are geared toward what you're doing. If you're looking at sublimation, they have classes talking about sublimation. Um, Different inks, different printers, products that you can sublimate on, how easy it is. Samples are being passed around. Embroidery, want to learn how to hoop a hat because that is very specific. It was there. You want to learn about the different needles, um, different stabilizers. That's all there. You want to cut some vinyl? You want to learn about quilting? It's all there at these smaller craft, home business, prosumer events. Christine is saying that at shows like Applique Getaway, they're relatively cheap compared to shows like Impressions Expos. Add in material and handling and all this stuff, the shows get really expensive, and they do. Letty, there was a vendor there this year that had craft tables with cutting mats, um, and it was a Martelli table. It was amazing. It You could raise it up, you could lower it mechanically. I think it was powered to raise up, lower. It could tilt. It was amazing. Very, very helpful in any craft room, I'm sure. Um, of course, Martelli notions. Thank you, Christine. Um, of course, in my craft room, it is so full. I'm spilling over into another room and plus my office here. So those are some of the things that you can find at these smaller prosumer home craft events. Okay, so here's where, now that we've identified the two different types of events, in my opinion, let's talk about these smaller events. What do we want to see? We love them. We'd love to see more of them. And I think there are more of them, only they might be classified differently. For example, years ago, I used to do a lot of quilting. I used to go to, there's a big national quilting event in Paducah, Kentucky. And they had miles and miles and miles. And I mean, you drove from one part to the next. And again, you could buy your quilting supplies, you could buy your fabrics, you could meet some of your quilting icons. Sewing with Nancy. I know that she passed a few years back, but she used to be at that event. Um, Gosh, it's been so long. Timmons, something Timmons. So, anyways, just like the Eric Campbells and the Christine Shreves of our industry. There were quilting industry. There were quilting icons that were at those events. Oops, sorry. Why is it so that the craft room shrinks? Mine did it too. I know. You're tugging along. Gusta says you're going along and you're doing your work and you're having a good time, and then you turn around because you want to put something new in your craft room, but where? There's no more room, so you scramble out. Christine, yes, the American Quilter Society show. Paducah's their big show every year. Quilt Market in Houston. Now, just like with our garment decorating events, you can find lots of crossover from the quilting event. So don't discount those. If you have a quilting event in your area, there, like I said, there's lots of crossover. I had no idea how much embroidery affected quilts until I went to Paducah. Now, at that point, I was still doing strictly quilts. I hadn't even considered embroidery. I just walked right past those booths. Gosh, now I almost want to go back to Paducah just so I could walk past those booths. Um, but again, those are big shows and you need to support the vendors. Okay, so back to our prosumer show, our everything embroidery market, Applique Getaway. I can't speak too much for the quilting events, um, but they're out there too, and they have classes. What do you want to see in your classes? I know that I have been in this long enough that even though I go to the beginner classes, oh, Cindy, the Houston Quilt Show is great for all areas of our business. That might be a do someday. Of course, maybe I just need to move to Texas. Um, but what do you want to see in your events? Now, like I was saying, I've been doing this for a while. I take classes because I always learn something new in every class, even if it's just a startup class. The technology changes and the path changes, and your thought processes change it. So you learn something always. The one thing, as an experienced crafter, I'd like to see more mid-level to advanced classes. Unfortunately, the majority of new people that go to these events are just getting started, and they need those new person classes. So, what if we suggested a class that was advanced? Oh, I want to go back for a second. Christine says that the Houston Quilt Show also credentials vendors. You have to prove that you're a real part of the industry and what you're going to sell and teach to be able to set up there. That is definitely a show I might want to try to get into. Not get into meaning set up at, but get into to see and to touch and to experience. But what if we had, going back to our prosumer classes, what if we had classes and, for more advanced technique? Um, at the after hours with Lisa Shaw and Nikki, there was uh, uh, a door prize gift qualifier if you had a multimedia garment. What if we had a multimedia class? How to mix media. Doesn't have to be anything big, but that would fall into the more advanced class structure. I think she wants down. The cats are out there playing without her. Go on. Yep. So, oh, Letty, good point. Uh, Applique Getaway had Thursday classes. They were longer classes, more detailed. Um, they were on Thursday, so you had to come in a day earlier. Sewing expos, Barb, awesome. Sewing expos are like our Applique Getaway. Um, so maybe those classes could be for more advanced users. And I didn't participate in those myself this year. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Christine was coming to answer my question about more advanced classes. She's saying that and remember, she's one of what did she call herself? Going back, scrolling back. I'll find it. Because I loved it. Oh, yeah. Director of Marketing and Outreach Media Director, Goddess in charge of the universe. So remember that. So, anyway, she's saying it's a hard line to walk. That whole beginner class, advanced class, mid level classes. You want to have a good mix of classes to cover the widest subject area. And it's tough to find a balance sometimes. And I agree. I agree. What might be considered a mid class for me or an advanced class for me might be too much for somebody just getting started. But it's a thought. Um, Christine, I'm with a little help from my friends, I'm putting together a list that might help for next year. Multimedia. Gusta says multimedia, I'm on. So this is the rest of the world. Doesn't have to be free. There are many of us who want to join. Yep. So how about more hands-on classes? When I say hands-on, a lot of the instructors, they have limited they're limited in their structure. They create their class at home or in their at their in their office, and then they have to transport that class to the location and present it. Well, well, depending on what your class is teaching, it's really hard to teach that class because your equipment's at home. In fact, the hat hooping, we were talking about hats and in one of the classes. That class was taught by Jeff Fuller of Fuller Embroidery Works. Amazing, amazing person. He actually had to borrow an embroidery machine to take to the class with him because it's hard to teach a hat hooping if you don't have a hat hoop. Okay, going back to Christine here. She loves the list. She asked all the people on the AG page what they want to see in classes this year, and we had some of their requests. I'm sure you did. Hands-on classes work better for longer Thursday seminars, plus you have the ability of people bringing their equipment. We don't have techs on site. And I agree. That's exactly what I'm saying. Um, but what about what if it was just a small bit of equipment that you need that would fit in a suitcase? For example, one of the classes I was thinking about was hooping techniques. And basically what you would do is you would encourage your class. What you would do is you would encourage your class to bring supplies with them. For example, the class I'm thinking about, I would want them to bring one hoop, 4x4, 5x7, just something small, nothing big, um, stabilizer to cover that hoop, and a piece of cotton muslin, quilter's cotton, to also fit. And we would do some hooping techniques. Yes, Letty. We could have brought just some hoops and the stand. Oh, well, wasn't thinking so much the stand, but you're right. Um, and Christine, you're right. Sometimes you can work with the vendors that are at the event to borrow equipment from them. But that's something you either need to uh, determine ahead of time, determine ahead of time, or um, hopefully get permission at the time of the show. Actually, I got ideas. Christine wants to know if I want to teach this hooping technique class next year, and I have ideas. Might start out with a virtual class first. What do you think? Anyways, going back. So just more hands-on. If we could find a way to oh, thank you, Letty. I mean the base, but easily hook multiple bases on. Okay. So more hands-on. People like to touch things. Um, People like to be involved. Sheila, welcome. And I would love to sit and collaborate with you too. Gusta, I'm thinking we'll get you that ticket. Don't forget to update your passport because you know they're kind of funky about that. Um, but more hands-on. People like to touch things. For example, if I were doing a hooping class, I would encourage everybody to come down closer. I love the class structures. I take those classes every year. I I know it would probably extend some of it, but I would love to see people come down closer to to the action, to the activity and participate. I was telling Christina, we were having a conversation, and I was telling her that the one class that I did teach, that I felt so disconnected from the people. Yes, I had people sitting in the front because they were, my great support team, but there were others that were sitting so far back, and I wanted to just drag them in. Well, let's let's get up closer, people. Let's do this. Um, Barb, that's what the virtual classes are for. The virtual classes are there and they're amazing. They are there for all the people who can't make it to Irving, who can't make it to a live event. We would love to see these events travel the country, but it's not logistically feasible. So, and of course, COVID helped with this, the whole spread of uh, internet live streaming education. So it's wonderful. Let's see. Letty, yes, you did. There was Letty saying that she stayed behind in a class to help someone learn to hoop, showed them, and then had them hoop it. There was a couple that came to Applique Getaway specifically to learn because, like I said, hats are very precise. You have to be consistent in your hooping for a hat, especially if you're working with a multi-head machine. Oh, that's another idea. Um, but they came specifically to learn how to hoop a hat. And Letty was able, after the class, was able, only because Jeff was talking to other students, but these people were waiting for Jeff, and Letty was there. She has the knowledge and she has the experience. So she took it and she said, "Here, I can show you how to do that." And they hooped the hat. They practiced, which a lot of this is practice. Let's see. That's a good idea. Letty is suggesting that there is a lot of experience out there. She's making specific reference to the nerds. The embroidery nerd group is a Facebook group, and just eggheads of the embroidery industry. Eggheads. We puzzle things out. We brainstorm. We get together and figure how to do things. Um, Letty is suggesting that a group of experienced people could man an area of hands-on. Just a thought. Um, and oh gosh, I didn't write it down. God, I'm terrible about that. That's an awesome idea, Christine. Christine did at Applique Getaway this year. During the lunch hour, there was a panel, a um, educators panel, where they talked about how the educators got started their business and started their journey in uh, garment decorating. So now she's thinking a blend of Letty's idea, hands-on nerds, um, hands-on nerds as a lower panel, not so much on a stage, but down on the floor doing demos and teaching. Oh, that is an awesome idea. Or put you on the designer row or do demo or two. Now you've got me thinking, watch out. I can see it. The wheels are turning, Christine. I think we could do stations and earn a certificate of sorts, aka get a custom badge. Oh, So I know we could talk about this forever. Um, what I want you to do, if you're not part of the Applique Getaway group or the Everything Embroidery Market group, join those groups. If you have an idea, throw it out there to them. Whether it lands or not, that doesn't matter. Give them some feedback. Let them know what you want. Let them know what you enjoyed and what you thought could be different. Um, send them messages. It doesn't have to be in the public forum. You can send them a private message. They're always looking at their messages. It's part of their job. It's what they do for these events. Um, and worst case scenario, I can be the go between. Send me a message. I'll make sure it gets where it needs to go. So I know, like I said, we could talk about this forever. Um, but at this point, I want you guys to dig deep. I have one person I know, Cindy, is putting together, just her brain is just spinning. Um, Merit badges, like learning how to hoop or learning sublimation on a mug. Um, Sheila, I have a product on my website. They're called button badges. They're just little 2-inch rounds, little inch and a half rounds. I think we could create dozens and dozens of these. And you're right, just like merit badges, we earn our merit badge. Christine says feedback is always helpful. And I know at least the case of AG, and I'm sure with EEM, Everything Embroidery Market, as well. We're always looking for new vendors and new instructors. If you have an idea to teach, you have something that you think has that new users, or maybe a technique that you have found that works amazing and you want to share this, talk to Christine, talk to Everything Embroidery Market. Get yourself in a classroom. Teach the stuff. Okay. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out the broadcast now. Get your thinking caps on, jot down some notes, give the information to the directors and uh, to the event coordinators, and let's see what happens. Let's make 2024 even better than 2023. We can do it. All right. You all have a great weekend. It's only Saturday. It's still early. Plenty of time to do lots of stuff. I myself, I'm going to go unpack. Remember, I said I haven't even unpacked. Went straight to work. Sheila, I am so glad we were able to get together this year too. I am so glad that the whole COVID thing has mellowed out. Yes, it's still out there, but it's not as harsh as it was at the beginning, which allows us to come together as a community again. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to go over here and wasn't that fun? Do you have more questions? Do you want to learn something new? Join me at quicktostitch.com for coffee and conversation, and we'll talk about it. Embroidery machines, designs, and business. Hope to see you soon. Bye now.